Oh, Saturday, 3 o'clock, 3 points, 3 goals, third in the league. Oh, I do love a Saturday at St James's Park. This is the last word. So yes, welcome back to the last word here on Newcastle Fans TV. Like and subscribe to the channel before you start. Before we hear the thoughts of Joe from Leigh and our very special guest Jay, all the way from Atlanta, here's a little message from our sponsors for today's video, Match Bingo.
Yes, indeed. A big thank you to our sponsor, Match Bingo, today. Over 200,000 has been paid out to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo, combining them into one brilliant app. Make sure you get your bingo card for the upcoming game against Brighton. Click on the link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. Bingo cards for this game are you buy 4 and you get 1 free.
You nailed that one.
Cheers, mate.
I did last week.
Professional. I need to up my game here.
I know, honestly, stop it, I'll blush.
It's staying in that.
Yes, thank you to Match Bingo for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you click that lovely QR code that you can see on your screen. The link will also be in the description as well. Where is it? Where is it? Tell me on screen. But yeah, Joe, Leigh and Jay from Atlanta. He's been in the comments. He's finally made the trip to St James's Park to see Newcastle United win. Jay, I'll start with you. Team news, just the one change, very unexpected. Nobody really heard anything about Joe Linton getting a knee injury. And I think that probably puts him out for the rest of the season now. Joe Willock comes in for him. What did you make of that?
Played well. I surprised, didn't expect it, sitting in the stands, and oh my. I thought Willock played well in the space in the center in front of the goal outside the box. Lots of possession runs in the attack, moving through the middle and receiving the ball as well. He probably was as cold as the rest of us to a certain extent. And I thought he played really well today. I thought he contributed to the match successfully. A la the first year, not without the goals, but a real contribution from him today. I was pleased to see him do well as well.
How much of a miss is Joe Linton though for those last 4 games, which it probably looks like, you know?
He's the kind of player that's difficult to get another one like him, right? So his role, he does well, and we don't really have somebody that can do that, but that's all right. We'll recreate him with extra people in different ways there. So he is a huge miss, but we do have enough depth, and our midfield is talented enough to absorb that for a time. If he is out for the season, though, that will be a challenge.
There will be a challenge, but we've got a lot of players at Newcastle United that I'm sure are up for the challenge here. Miley's, Willocks, even Longstaff to a lesser extent as well. Leigh, obviously, we're not going to touch too much about the Ipswich team because obviously there's not really a lot to talk about apart from maybe Liam Delap in terms of, a £30 million release clause. Everybody seems to know that as Joe decides to, drop everything known to man. What's he like? But Liam Delap, he's probably Ipswich's biggest threat. If you're looking at it as an audition a la Newcastle United and other clubs, what do you think?
Put himself about, muscle, and I think he's got something about him. It's just the way that Ipswich set up. It was more or less, let's park the bus and let's try and hit him on the counter. We'll invite you on, and obviously the red card we'll talk about in a minute. But with Delap, the suitors there, look, he's scoring goals for a team that Delap doesn't get as much chance as say a Haaland or a Isak. He's got probably half the amount per game. But the lad's in 12 goals, 13 goals in all comps. He'd be a great backup to Alexander Isak, and he's proven. I think he's done a season in the Premier League. I wouldn't be against it if there is that 30 million release clause. I would take the punt on that because I think Wilson needs, unfortunately, to head out. Delap is a young lad, 21. The future's bright for him, and yeah, why not?
Yeah, he's certainly not the finished article. I think some Newcastle, amongst other clubs, obviously Manchester United have been heavily linked with Liam Delap as well. So let's see what happens with that in the summer. Joe, when we look at the start of the game, Dan Burn decided to give her all a heart attack when he tried to play the ball to Fabian Schär in Ipswich. Get a chance out of it where it just goes wide, but that was probably the closest they got all afternoon in terms of a Newcastle point of view. It was a bit of a slow burner, a lot of crosses, a lot of possession where we weren't really doing a lot with it. The first half an hour, it was just very stop-start, wasn't it? The referee didn't really get a grip of it.
Yeah, the referee didn't really have a full grip of the game in the first half. It was a bit difficult. And one thing I want to point out as well is I feel like even in the first half it could have been 1 or 2-0, but Ipswich's keeper Palmer has had a really good game today. Despite it being a 3-0 against Ipswich, Palmer kept a lot out in that first half, and it just felt like we weren't that invisible wall effect. Every chance that we got to really try and finish, it just seemed like it wasn't quite getting over the line. So it was a bit difficult, a bit hard. The referee, again, like you see, it was just stop and start all the time. Sometimes he didn't even really understand why he was stopping the game. But a few VAR checks as well. It was hard for it to get fully into the steady end of the game, but as you come towards the back end of the first half, you just felt something was coming.
Willock was getting irritated more. He was having a bit of a pull, and Caesar was causing a little bit of havoc in terms of really trying to get involved in the game himself, Jay. But one of the big talking moments before the penalty, Ben Johnson, the Ipswich fullback, I think he's lost in the headlights when he's going through on goal for the first yellow card. He dives, referee gives a yellow card. No real complaints from him himself. He kind of understands. I don't know if he's anticipating Dan Burn tripping him up. Yeah. But the second yellow card is a stonewall. Isak gets the wrong side of him. It's the easiest decision the referee's going to make. And he did make it. He could have easily said, no, I'll give him one last chance. But when you're playing 10 men against Newcastle United in terms of 11v10, it's a long afternoon for Ipswich.
It really was. And we had an excellent view from the Leeses to that incident as well. And he made the call, and he made it quickly and carded him and sent him immediately. And from our view, it was very clean. And at that point, there'd been some action in front of the goal mouth in front of us and living and dying on your seat at that point. But once that happened, the whole timbre of everything changed right there. There's a different animal to come up here, a man short, and get some work in. And I wouldn't say that I relaxed, and obviously our players didn't relax either, but everybody realized, and people around us, it was inevitable. What from there, what was coming was coming. It was just a question of when and how long from that point. Massive mistake. And actually, I think the dive was more of a mistake on his part.
Stupidity.
Than actually what happened. That was stupid. That was stupid. And
why would you go down when you got a chance to pull a shot off? Yep. That's what bothers me. It's like, what?
Do you not think he's maybe a right back who's not in that position?
I know, but he's gone past Burn.
That's fair.
He's got the shot on. It's like, why are you diving there?
Yeah,
madness.
It was a madness. Dive where we were sat, we had a great view of it, and we straight away were like, well, he's just chucked himself on the floor there for absolutely no reason, and you've given away an amazing chance for you.
Crackers. Mental.
I'll tell you what was mental. The 10 minutes before the half-time whistle. That was a mental 10 minutes at Elisa's end. Bruno not doing anything wrong in my book. Jay, you probably would have had the best view in terms of a ball just kind of just dropping towards Palmer. I don't think there's any contact really from any note. And it just kind of hits Bruno and goes in, starts celebrating. But VAR have said, no, there's nothing wrong with that. What was your thought on it?
Most of us in our area thought that it wasn't going to stand. Obviously, we wanted it to, but everyone felt like it didn't look right to us, and I don't know. No one seemed to call it clean in my area, but it did seem to be involved. I have not seen the replay. I could be wrong, but no one on our end was like, "That's a lock." We all were like, "This is going to be a problem," and it turned out they didn't agree. Yeah. No one was super angry. We're all disappointed, but none of the locals were really upset. So.
Yeah, it was interesting, and then from that point onwards, Lee, Newcastle just having attack after attack after attack. I think it was Bruno that had one cleared off the line acrobatically by the Ipswich defence. Ipswich were just trying to waste time. Dan Burn was getting assaulted, but getting a yellow card for doing nothing.
Yeah, that's
all he was doing. That's all it was.
It was just really poor, really pathetic. But Sandro Tonali has an effort that hits the crossbar, and you just think it's just a matter of when and not if. And the referee doesn't decide to give a penalty after Bruno plays a lovely ball into the pass of Jacob Murphy. We've seen that pass so many times before. Bruno to Murphy. Murphy gets wrong side, pull of the shirt, foul after VAR decides after only 1 minute of added time, which is a bizarre one. Absolutely bizarre. It was a penalty to Newcastle. What was your thoughts?
Well, we're all in the Gallagher into a blatant penalty. We could see it from the other end.
Yep.
He's literally pulled at him like that. I don't think the referee had a good game today. I can say that now that we've won. There's so many stop-starts. Just let it flow, man. And it took a while. I don't know how he's not seen it because it's a blatant penalty. And the Gallagher screaming and pointing and what have you. It's the right decision. That's what VAR is there for. But
if the referee hasn't seen it, surely the linesman who's on that side can go.
Well, the end of the day, it took a while, but the right decision has been given. It's because it's a blatant penalty. So in real time, that's not given if VAR's not there. So that's where the praise comes in with VAR. Yes, we were battering them. It's naturally they've got a point to play for. The 10 men at that stage. It's 0-0. Try and get it at half time. It's an awful time to concede. What was it? 4 or 5 minutes before full half time or something like that. Conceded the penalty, and Isak steps up and Great penalty. You would have a great view as well, Jay, right in front of you. You've witnessed a goal down there.
Class penalty. My missus got a fantastic still shot, keeper horizontal, ball going by. Everything you're looking for. It was class.
Well, there you go. Alexander Isak making it 1-0, and perfect in terms of just before the half-time whistle. Second half starts, and it was attack versus defence. It was very much a training ground session, and it was just a matter of when Newcastle United were going to make it 2-0. And Dan Burn, decides to get involved. He loves a header. He loves a header. He loves a goal, and he managed to plod one over the line after Trippier's lovely little dink/cross. And at that point, if it wasn't game over at 1-0 because of the circumstances, it was game over at 2-0.
Oh, of course it was. And Dan Burns' header, mate, I just see as well, like, he practically went into the whole goal himself. It was brilliant. I think he actually caught the header, like, there's the lane, and he catches the header just, perfectly timed, and he ends up going straight into the goal himself. Absolutely loves it. Goes mental. It was really well done. It was just one of those where the second half was pretty much all played in the Gallagher end, really. Like, Lee will back that up. It would have been hard for you, JC, and the rest of that. Yeah, get your binoculars out. But it was just constant pressure. As soon as we got the go ahead from the second half kicking off, you knew another goal was coming. You knew more was coming. You just knew Ipswich were losing minute by minute. They were losing all morale, all fight in the game, and they just couldn't keep up with the switching of sides. We weren't sticking solely down to one side, which might I say, when we have stuck to one side today, Trippier, I was just saying this to Jay before, Trippier and Barnes' connection today, the way they have been working together and the way that Murphy's been coming in on it as well, them three have been phenomenal today with the passing, with the playing the balls through each other. It's been unbelievable. Dan Burn, unreal header, in another same position, very alike to Wembley. He's just going to keep knocking them in. How can a man at that age be in the prime of his career? But surely enough he is.
Surely enough,
very key moment that might, because that sucks the life out of Ipswich.
I think they were already playing for time pretty much 6 minutes in, and I think they were playing for time in the second half, even though it was obviously very unlikely that they were going to get anything from it, unfortunately. Bit of class though from the Ipswich Town fans singing the Once Were Robson throughout the game, and as they were coming out as well. So a bit of class. And
I said they did that down at the way end as well, so that was really nice that both sets of fans were bouncing, because we all love Bobby.
Yeah.
They were loud even before it was over. They were here to
they
support
would
their
have been
club.
above you.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. But even when the inevitable came and the bouncing back and forth, they showed their pride. Tip of the cap to them. It was remarkable to see in person.
Tip of the cap indeed. In terms of players that you want to see do well, anybody in the black and white shirt you want to see do well, but maybe William Osula is the man that you want to see do well a little bit more at the minute, because you can tell he wants to prove the doubters wrong. He wants to make sure that he can be a success at Newcastle United. Sam Mulliner, you said he wasn't going to score a goal this season. He has proved you wrong. Particularly in the Premier League, Jay. And corner comes in from the right-hand side. Osula, massive header into the net. No chance of Palmer. Couldn't palm any of the previous efforts like he did, could he? There you go. Yeah, but it was 3-0. Great celebration as well, but a great header and a great goal, and perfect way to round off the afternoon.
Yeah, even from our end down there, you could see he really connected with it, got some power on it. You want to be up, you want to redirect it, you want a ball with pace, put pace on it so that nobody can get in the way, and he did all those things. So what it comes down to is, do you have the talent to get the opportunity? And then when you get the opportunity, can you demonstrate your talent? And I would say he affirmatively did today.
He certainly did, and that was a fantastic finish. You said like Shearer, Ferdinand.
He would have loved that. That was just top corner. And I said in the score when the players just went out earlier, is that just the players were buzzing for him in that corner. They were
the players, the fans, everybody.
Yeah, it was affectionate to see that they were all wanting him and pleased that they did it. And good for him, because he's got a bit of sticks in, and plenty of us on this channel as well. We say that as well.
I've never said anything bad about him.
It's just, he's not good enough. He's not ready for this season. It might be next season, what have you. But that'll give him massive confidence, and he'll be going home he's doing this all with Bruno and whatever. And
it was a bit like Joe Kenjo, wasn't he?
And honestly, I said it before when Osula came on, I was like, I would love to see him score the day, because I think he deserves it, solely based off his personality, his attitude, his ego even. Honestly, out of all of the players now who I want to meet and actually go and have a pint with, it's Osula. But I feel like it would be a little bit dangerous putting me and him in the same room. But what a guy he is. I'm so happy he scored. I was absolutely bouncing. I think that's the point where I started losing my voice majorly.
Horsey, isn't it?
It was just straight, as soon as he scored, I was just bouncing. I was like, Osula! just happy as Larry. He deserves it. He really does. And I hope he's got a bright future here at Newcastle. I really do.
Yeah, certainly. His first goal, but another clean sheet for Newcastle United was just as important. Remember that. And Newcastle United ended up getting all 3 points, which is absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you what's fantastic to see. Eddie Howe back in the dugout this afternoon. Back from, obviously, being diagnosed with pneumonia. Really, really, obviously, cruel illness and a bad illness, but he's recovered, and you can see that he was delighted to be back in the dugout this afternoon. Eddie, what did you make of Newcastle United's win this afternoon?
We focused a lot and tried to prepare well for this game because we knew the importance of the match, and we knew Ipswich would make it difficult for us, and they did. They defended deep. They were quite direct with their play, and they were a big transition threat, and we had a lot to contend with, but I thought we defended really, really well today, and that gave us the platform then to win the game. 0-0 is very different to 1-0 obviously, and when it's 11v10 it's a bit of the pressure comes off and you're able to be more free, and I thought we were in the second half. I thought we played a lot better. But it was a big moment. I mean, it was a penalty. I haven't seen it again, so I don't know how that looks. At the time, I thought it was a clear penalty, and Alex put it away really well, so it was a big turning point in the game. Yeah, but the talk at half-time was very much to be on the front foot and look to score and attack, and certainly not to slow the game down and almost be comfortable winning 1-0. We wanted to try and put the game to bed, and eventually we got there. Dan scores an important goal. Will scores a great header from a set play as well, so really pleased for him. That could be a turning point for him in his career.
And we are back. Big thanks to Eddie for that. I'm going to start off talking about the Champions League race, Jay, because here is your Premier League table right now. Newcastle United were 6th before kick-off when Chelsea beat Everton at Stamford Bridge, but as you can see on 62 points, they're now 3rd in the Premier League table. 4 games to go, 5 clear of Villa, 2 clear of Chelsea, 2 clear of Forest, but Forest do have a game in hand, and a point ahead of Man City with 4 games to go. How do you see this Champions League race between the 5 teams?
We're in it to win it. We've earned our position here. Sure, it would have been better had we had 3 points or even a draw with Aston Villa. We didn't get that, but we got a must-win today. Those 3 points were critical, and +3 on the goal difference is important. I think that will be relevant for some position, ours somewhere in the stack. So we're doing the right things. We are in form. We are playing well. We are playing as a team well. And that should be terrifying for the opponents that we have to play. We have not an easy run in, but we have Chelsea. So let's get that. Let's contribute with more points through the rest of the year. Not just 3s, but a draw here and there can be fine. No more significant losses. And it's ours for the taking. This is what we've wanted for the better part of 20 years, to be in the driver's seat, to say we belong here. We're not going to stumble in on accident. We're going to walk through the door and take our place there. And I am moderately confident that that's what's going to happen.
It is importantly to stress that, you know, we have got that gap over Aston Villa. That's one of the 5 teams, or one of the other 4 teams rather, in this little race for the top 5 positions. And, you know, this time last week we were coming out of Villa Park going, only 2 points ahead of these, and it's amazing how much things can change in a week in football. Look, as Jay rightly says, it's in our own hands. It's 4 games to go. It's Brighton next. I still feel like 2 wins from the last 4 games will be enough. And in each game, there is a shout of Newcastle United winning for different reasons. Arsenal might be in a Champions League final. Everton have got nothing to play for. Chelsea, it's a big occasion at St James's, 12 o'clock kick-off on a Sunday. Doesn't really need much more motivation. Brighton, it's going to be a really tough task. We haven't got a good record against them in the Premier League at all. I don't think we've even won there in the Premier League. I know we won there in the Championship. But can we go to Brighton and win? I suppose is the obvious question.
That's the big challenge. The run-in's very tough. I know you've kind of like thought the positives, the negatives will be. I've got to do that as well. We've got an awful record at Brighton. So hopefully that
changes. Would you take a point next week?
Yeah, I would. I think 7 points gets you, and at the next 4, I think 7 points will just scrape you in. The Arsenal one, yes, we'll beat them in the League Cup, and you're all right, they have nothing to play for, so they might rotate, so that might help us. That's still a difficult fixture for us. Chelsea, you don't know what you get. That's the big one. I think that's the biggest out of the 4 for me. And Everton, yes, they've got nothing to play for, but they're a different team under David Moyes. I know they got beat earlier today, but they're not the Everton that are hovering 16th, 17th. They're more or less
11th, 12th.
They're a mid-table side now, aren't they? Because Moyes is, whatever you think, has done a fantastic job there. So it's a hard run in that. You know, we had to win today, regardless of the performance, regardless of the 10 men. We had to win, period, today, just to get we're back in. Because not that we want to slip up, we can afford 1, but we can't afford any more.
Joe, just a quick one, just on a couple of players. Botman's back. Obviously got 10 minutes, which was really good to see. Obviously, I don't think he's going to start games unless it's a bit of an injury doubt to either Burn or Shaw, which I don't think that would be the case. Joe Linton not being available, I mentioned it to Jay at the beginning, is obviously a big blow. Have we got enough cover in midfield, and will we see Botman start again between now and the end of the season?
Don't think we'll see Botman start. I think we'll see him appear a bit more, a couple of cameos here and there when Byrne and Shea are suffering a little bit, after putting in an absolute shift like they did today. But then Joe Linton being gone, you do sort of look at that and worry because of how clinical Joe Linton, Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali have been this season. But I think what got shown today was Sandro and Bruno are still able to knock it up an extra gear. They are still able to cover the side. And when Miley came on, Miley had a great back end of that game. He was fantastic.
Is it still Willock's shirt in terms of that position next to Bruno and Tonali? Would you say it's Willock's right now in terms of now at the end of the season?
I would probably say so, yeah. If Joe Linton's not there, Willock's always going to be starting in his place. He's the second choice to Joe Linton, and rightfully so after coming back into the squad today and starting and having what I would probably say is one of his best performances this season today. He made a lot of places for attacks. He made a lot of great, clinical, clean, important passes to forwards. He was absolutely fantastic today, Willock. A couple of times where I personally think like he maybe should have backed himself a bit more, and I think he could have got on that score sheet today if he had backed himself a couple of times, Willock. So I'm really happy with Willock being there, and I don't think I'm worried losing Joe Linton. If it's going to be for the rest of the season and we don't get him back, I'm not too worried. I'm worried because it's Joe Linton, obviously. However, when you look at Willock and how well he's performed today, I think we've got a solid midfield still to carry with through. Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
It's just on Joe Linton. I don't think he's actually played well the last couple of games.
But I think it's still an important
long term,
piece,
yes.
Yeah.
But if it's not too serious, hopefully it's not, his form needs to come back.
Let's see what happens. Jay, kick us off with man of the match. Is it a bit of a difficult one this afternoon?
It is a difficult one. Normally I'm an analyst and I'm at home watching on TV, so I bring things up and I do the work. But I've had to walk out of the stadium and be fresh here, so let's see how this plays. I thought Trippier was outstanding in the match, and it seems crazy to award him the man of the match. He didn't score the goal, but I would say our game went through him. His link-ups with down the right side and across to Barnes, unusually, I thought he was absolutely critical in a way that most.
Do you give him a new contract next season?
I think he's got one.
Yes.
Got one more,
yes. For a couple grounds here. His leadership ability is paramount. He's the first signing. He's what made this. Do you want to ride with the brand or not? Give him the opportunity, right? Give him the opportunity to sign for a reasonable amount of money. If he says, no, I want to go make some more money at the end, I don't begrudge him. But yes, you do. His leadership is important. And to put in a performance like that today is impressive. I will also say that what makes that work as well is Tonali, again, just in the middle of the field, doing the business on every play. Retaining the ball, holding somebody off, not falling over, in position, redirecting, tangling up, being in the way when that's necessary when we're falling back. Those two, when they're having a game like that, and Trippier doesn't always have a game like that, but we're a different animal. And for me, how can you score a goal and be the right back? I don't know. I'm going to give it to him. I'll have to go look at the numbers later. That's my opinion. We'll see how that wears.
So Trippier gets the man of the match from Jay. What about you?
Well, we've already done score in the players, and we didn't score many particular high because we thought it was Newcastle didn't really need to get out of second gear in every position. But you know what, I'm going to say William Osula just for the crack, because I thought he changed it on that on that side. I thought we were. It was comfortable, yes, but it got a little bit lethargic, I felt. So he brought a little bit something different. So I would go William Osula because he scored. He was just energetic. And that's because I don't think anyone had a 9 or a 10 today.
Joe?
For me, I agree with what Jay said about Trippier. A lot of attacks going through him. However, for me, someone who produced a lot of attacking plays, someone who also produced a lot of amazing defensive plays, which I think is becoming a very, very key thing of his, being able to play just as well up the pitch as he does down the back of the pitch. It's the midfield maestro from Milano, Sandro Ole.
I agree with Joe. I think Sandro does get the nod. Honourable mention to Dan Burn, honourable mention to Alexander Isak as well, because gets the sending off, scores the penalty, does his job. That's what strikers do. But Sandro Tonali for me.
He could have played John Ruddy in goal today.
He could have done. And that's no disrespect. I'm sure he'd love to have played against Ipswich, being the former Norwich City captain and goalkeeper as well. But look, it's Tonali for me. Yes, he wasn't tested because of the opposition, and especially when they play 5 at the back, and then the red card is just a 5-4, if we're being really, really honest. But it was a comfortable afternoon, but it just showed his qualities in terms of how good he is with the ball, and he is our conductor, he is our midfield maestro, as Joe rightly says. Very, very quickly, Joe and Lee will be at Kingston Park tomorrow for Newcastle United's last home game against Birmingham City in the WSL Championship.
Get it right.
Newcastle still got a chance of finishing in the top 3 if results go their way. Can Newcastle beat table topping or close to table topping Birmingham City?
We did early in the season. Mind you, the battered were down St Andrews, but we won 2-0 that day. Somehow, it's a tough ask. They're going for obviously promotion, so why not, I would say.
Aye. We'll go out there and smash it. Becky's still hungry to finish as high as she can. The whole team is still really hungry to finish as high as they can. And I think we've got to really end this last home game on a massive, massive, massive positive for one reason and one reason only, and that's so that we can really give a massive cheer and clap to the one and only legend that is Grace Donnelly, who is going to be leaving the club at the end of the season. Devastated, still haven't told Emmy, but I think tomorrow we'll go away to Birmingham. We'll go home to Birmingham City, and I think we'll do them. I really do. I think it'll be a hard game like it was earlier in the season, but I really, really, really think we've got the wherewithal and the drive to finish this league as high as possible and to really take it away from Birmingham. Yeah.
Just before we wrap up, Jay, tell us about your experience. We've got you on.
It's not easy for me to be speechless, but I really was. I don't think I said a word as I came through and the match started for about 5 minutes. It was overwhelming. I've followed this club 2002, my first full season, 2003, 2004. I've been meaning to come here for 20 years. It's always expensive and it's inconvenient and there are reasons and then things. I would just say that if you're an international fan out there and you've been thinking about coming, it's not easy and it costs money, but if you can do it, do it. Get here. This town is wonderful. The people are wonderful. The stadium is everything that you think it might be, and it was a fantastic day. It was overwhelming in some ways. The win was great. I'm glad we won, but it would have been a great day even without that. It was remarkable to be here, especially with the experiences I've had over the decades with the club to be here. I was a fool to wait this long, and I would just encourage any of you that if you're as passionate about this club as the locals are, or some crazy foreigners can be, you should come. You should come. It is truly amazing. I shouldn't have waited this long.
It's been a privilege to spend the last 3 days with you.
Yeah, that's a magic of a football club, and it doesn't matter where you're from in the world. If you just like black and white, that'll do for us. Brighton next week. Lee will be there along with Sam Mulliner.
May the 4th be with you.
Exactly. On May the 4th, all those Star Wars fans out there. Massive game for Newcastle. Can they get another big win? If they can, it'll be their first win at the Amex in the Premier League since Brighton and Newcastle were both promoted back in 2017, which seems many moons ago. But this is where we'll wrap things. So a big thanks to Joe, big thanks Lee, and a massive thanks to Jay, all the way from Atlanta. And yeah, as I said, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, give Jay some nice comments as well. Come on.
One more question. Is this a way to Barcelona? Bayern Munich, Lazio, Roma. Shorty boys are taking over. Champions League awaits for me.
See you next week.